Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? I clarify that knowledge that you speak on the campus is located on the additional for recognize that there is no state or many times for a social segregated server effective moderation. And it is my pleasure to close the 6th ever teaching and learning seminar series. Only 2 years ago, this forum was only a dream, but now a delightful reality thanks to the devoted speakers and hard work of organizers behind the scenes. Today's topic is called Innovation and Interdisciplinary Collaboration for an Integrated and Holistic First-Year Experience, emphasizing the words collaboration and team. The speakers is constituted by instructor Fernanda Tomaselli and Lindsay Carr and student Amari Davis. Fernanda is a lecturer at the Faculty of Forestry and the coordinator of UBC's Land 1 program and instructor of the course Land 1 Integrated Seminary. This is the FRST or LFS 110. She also teaches courses in climate change and conservation, including an international field course in Ecuador. Lindsay is an assistant professor of teaching jointly appointed in the Faculties of Forestry and Land and Food Systems. She designs, coordinates, and delivers scholarly writing education courses in both faculties and is a core member of the Land 1 teaching group. Mari is a second-year urban forestry student in the Faculty of Forestry and Land 1 alumni who has taken an interest in designing urban green spaces and researching about their user preference. After completing her current term as the Urban Forestry Program representative on the Forestry and Undergraduate Society, she will be focusing on applying for studies in experiential learning. For more context, Land 1 is an innovative first-year undergraduate cohort program jointly offered by the Faculties of Forestry and Land and Food Systems. Created in 2018, it addresses first-year student challenges such as lack of belonging and persistent connections between course contents. The program delivers an integrated course suite for around 50 first-year students with observed positive results, a greater sense of community, personalized guidance, better access to experiential learning opportunities, and fully holistic and interdisciplinary education. The seminar will describe the teaching and learning approach in Land 1, as well as its impact through the perspective of instructors and students. As always, thanks to the Dean of this office and all the colleagues who make this event possible. We have a large team of people devoted to the design, marketing, logistics, technology, etc. And finally, thanks to all of you for being here. If the free lunch was your only motivation, we can assure you that it will be eclipsed by the quality of the talk. So, round of applause for the speakers.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to speak into this tiny mic for Zoom. So we really wanted to give this talk today because we were finding that when we talk about Land 1 in our 2 faculties, people don't really know what it is. And we think it is an incredible, impactful program. So we wanted to take this chance to just share with you a little bit about Land 1 and what it's all about. So thank you. Thank you to my LFS colleagues for joining us today over in forestry. I won't give the land acknowledgements. And we had such a lovely introduction, so thank you so much, Andreas. We will not introduce ourselves further, except this is Fernanda. I'm Lindsay. This is Amari. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to first go into why Land 1? Why did we create this program? Give you a little bit of an overview of what the program is. Talk about our approach, the approach we take through all of the courses, through the integrated course suite, and then a little bit into the metrics. We all, as scholars, love to know, does it have impact? And yes, the numbers show that it does, so we do want to share those with you. Talk about some challenges that we faced in the last 5 or 6 years that the program's been running, and then dream a little bit in terms of the future. So why Land 1? Why create a program like that? The first thing is student belonging. So there was a real desire expressed by the leadership at the time, which included Rob, Chris Skamon, that was wanting to connect students more in their first year to their faculties. So students in LFS and in forestry often take courses outside of their faculties. So like biology, chemistry, and they were noticing that they weren't really getting that connection and that identity of like, I am a forestry student, I know my professors, and also with LFS. The literature tells us that a lack of belonging can result in disengagement and decreased academic outcomes. And then conversely, a sense of belonging improves academic outcomes. And there's evidence that even for the long term. And we're not just talking about grades here. We're talking about like well-being, persistence, efficacy, graduation.
Okay, so another motivation for the Lang1 program is to provide students education for sustainability. So many higher learning institutions around the world have made many pledges around sustainability in terms of the education, in terms of their research, but also around in terms of their, campuses, etc. And higher education is extremely important for, a transition into a more sustainable world. At the end of the day, we do shape, the leaders of tomorrow. So we have an incredibly important role in providing that important education. And in this sense, UBC has made a number of pledges around sustainability education, sustainability in general, and it is considered a leader in terms of sustainability. And just to give you one example, one of UBC's goals is to embed sustainability in all of its undergraduate teaching programs. That's a very big goal, very ambitious, but hugely important. So Lang1, by offering sustainability education in the first year and a very integrative approach to education, contributes to UBC's goal of educating students in this well-rounded understanding of global challenges. So a little bit of the program, how it works. All right. So the program has a number of objectives. I will go sort of briefly through the objectives. Very soon, we will discuss how we address each objective. Potentially, the most important goal of Lang1 and sort of why it was created is to improve the transition of students from high school to university. That transition is potentially one of the most challenging ones that students face. Like, although they like the university experience in first year, they do struggle a lot in terms of their connection with each other, but also in terms of their academics. So Lang1 was created with this goal of like helping students, supporting them to improve their experience in their first year. And part of that, and to what Lindsay mentioned, creating a sense of community is hugely important. Why? Because it improves their experience, but also because, at the end, their academic outcomes are also related to that better sense of community. Also, a goal of the program is to offer more experiential learning opportunities. The students do learn a lot by doing. The faculties of forestry and land food systems are, I would say, very innovative in terms of experiential learning. So it's more of offering that in the first year experience. And also providing more personalized guidance. And most first year students would have classes of 200, 300, 400 students, where it is almost impossible to really know their professors and to make connections with other students. So Lang1 offers small classrooms and more personalized connections. And finally, in terms of content, we offer, one of the objectives is to offer relevant and real-world content. So we will talk quite a bit about how we do that and what type of content we offer. Providing integrated and interdisciplinary education. Again, usually, in first year, students take a bunch of different courses. They take math, chemistry, biology, but nothing, in no class, there's a connection between the subjects. So Lang1 wanted to address that deficiency by basically trying to integrate all of these different courses that they are taking. And finally, expanding their understanding of the world by exposing them to diverse ways of knowing. So the integration of indigenous content and indigenous ways of knowing is very central to the way we teach in Lang1. So what do we do? How is it, special and different from from the first year in Forestry and LFS? So we have a smaller class size. So usually we have between 50 and 60 students in each year. half of those are from the Faculty of Forestry, and about half of those are from the Faculty of Land and Food Systems. So we have the two faculties sitting together in the same classroom. We have had 6 cohorts of Land 1, so approximately 300 students have gone through the program. This number of 50, 60 students is, very consistent. Like that's the number we usually get every year. And it's a cohort model. That means that the students take not all of their classes together, but many classes together. So they take 5 courses together, meaning that they see each other in those courses, and those classes happen in the same classroom. So they are really, able to get to know each other. Something very special about Land 1 is also the offering of the Land 1 Lounge. So first year students usually don't necessarily have their unique space to be. The Land 1 Lounge is one space in the Macmillan building in LFS where Land 1 students can, go and they hang around, they study there, we do the social events in the Land 1 Lounge. And that's a very unique offering. Most students, Amari is a second year now, but many students want, continuous access to the Land 1 Lounge. Like they absolutely love it. But it's, one part of just like the first year offering in Land 1. And in terms of the core courses, so this is sort of an idea of the instructors in the program and the courses that we offer. So in term 1, you have on the left side of the screen, so we have Professor Bob Sean Leung in Math 180 and Athena McCown. And I teach also in term 1. So term 1, they would have these sort of 3 courses. The integrative seminar that I teach is a full year class. So it starts in September and it finishes in April. So that's why the integrative seminar is in term 1 and it's in term 2 as well. In term 2, students take principles of microeconomics, and they take scholarly writing and argumentation. Karen Taylor from LFS teaches microeconomics, and Lindsay shared appointment between Forestry and LFS teaches scholarly writing. So that's sort of the courses offered in Land 1, and overall, these represents 16 credits. Okay, and students can take all of the other credits according to their degree program. So this is just what they take in Land 1. And Land 1 is restricted to first year. Like they take the first year with us, and then in their second, third, fourth year, they go sort of on their own.
Right. So going a little bit more into detail into the approach. In everything we do, as we said, in terms of our objectives, we're striving to create a greater sense of community. So how do we do that? In the classroom, we take advantage of the fact that these students are together a lot. So they're very comfortable talking with each other, interacting with each other. So we do a lot of more group discussions, group work within all the classes, trying to strengthen those connections.
And just outside the classroom as well, we're going to do a lot of extracurriculars, and this does a really great job to foster friendships outside of the classroom in the academic setting. So we do activities like scavenger hunts, movie nights, baby Kahoot, international food night, wellness walks, and board games. And all of these were really beneficial to really increasing the friendship between us just outside of the academic setting. And a really big part of Land 1 is a more personalized guidance, which was touched on a little bit before, but it's really helpful for students coming from different educational backgrounds as a way to standardize the university level. In addition to this, the personal connection between the small class size and the professor makes it really easy for the class to have an open discussion, and it incites more student participation as well. And lastly, students feel like their instructors see them as a unique individual with their own unique perspective to share, as opposed to a big lecture hall where students sometimes feel a little intimidated to speak. On that more one-to-one 60-person class, it's a lot easier to communicate. Yeah. And then another huge part of Land 1 is the experiential learning opportunities, also known as our field trips. Our best field trip, I think, is the Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, and this was an overnight one. And we had the opportunity to learn how to orient ourselves with a compass in the forest, which was really great. And then the next day, we went to Earth Apple Organic Farm, and this was a great opportunity to do some hands-on learning. We planted garlic bulbs, and that was really fascinating to see the integration between the forestry and the LFS side coming together on that one field trip. And then we also got to go to the UBC farm and the UBC Roots on the Roof, which again are hands-on activities which put learning into action. So it's really great opportunities for students to just see what they will be doing outside of the academic sense.
So in Lang 1, we have also tried to develop more community engaged learning. So just to give you some examples, we usually volunteer at the food bank. Like food security is a huge topic in Lang 1, and students being able to be in the food bank, help with the work. It's really important for them. We have just developed last year a partnership with Cypress Community Garden, where our students, it's optional for students, but they can go and volunteer in the garden. We do it twice in the year, and it's an amazing experience, to meet the people at the garden, but at the same time to support the garden, with all the work that they have. We have also community action projects. We just developed a partnership with UBC Roots on the Roof, so that Lang 1 students will go as part of the Lang 1 experience. We will volunteer with the maintenance of the garden, and also now we will have basically a garden plot in the Roots on the Roof, so that the students can have that connection. They start having that connection with the land, and we can do assignments, journal reflections, and things related to that experience on Roots on the Roof. And also last year, we also started a citizen science project with UBC Seeds, where Lang 1 students started, monitoring biodiversity in a plot at UBC. And the idea is that every year we will do the same monitoring project so that we can contribute to the knowledge of biodiversity at UBC. So Lang 1 offers relevant and real-world content. So many first-year students, as I mentioned, sometimes feel that their education can be a little bit abstract. So in Lang 1, we put a lot of effort in making things very real, very tangible, and very applicable. So there's throughout the year a great focus on global challenges, and we talk, just to give you an example of global deforestation, how that connects to agriculture and food insecurity. We talk about climate change, how climate change will impact forests and food systems, and vice versa. And we end the year talking about, sustainability in general and how to reach that big goal of sustainability. We use also case studies, so students can learn, for example, about the specific countries, how the forest management or how forests are doing in very particular regions. And also, we connect learning to students' lives. So there are multiple examples. One of those, like we have the Lang 1 journal, where we make connections of what are students learning and how that connects to their own lives and to their own learning process.
Building on that, we do try to make things as integrated and interdisciplinary as possible in the program. So we have the integrative seminar that Fernanda teaches that really aims to, draw together those threads of the other courses that they're taking to be like, look at different socio-ecological systems, think about how they can take that learning and use it to make change. How does economics apply to writing, applied to biology and math? The instructors, we try to make connections between our disciplines by having regular meetings among ourselves, share our reading lists, our syllabi, to be like, I am using this book. Ooh, I love that article. I'm going to bring that into my writing class. Another instructor is going to bring it into economics, so that we can really start to weave those threads through. Just an example about how students can explore an idea from different angles. I had a student in my class develop a research question based on her learning in another class that was about linear features, restoring linear features as a way to reduce caribou mortalities in Western Canada. So she wrote a scholarly research paper about this in my class. And then in the integrative seminar, she was working on an infographic that was designed to bring something into action, to create change, to have a call to action. And so she used her learning in my class to then design an infographic about the BC wolf call and how to take action about that. So that's just one of many examples about how the learning can be explored in different angles. And another part of that that's really important to all of us as instructors, and is important to our students too, is that we elevate and introduce other forms of knowledge alongside Western science as other ways of knowing. So we have never wanted this just to be a tack on, that's like one module check mark, but that is woven through everything. So we try to bring in Indigenous scholars, look at writings, explore different ideas like Indigenous economics, for example, and also ways of knowing. Recently, we've introduced a positionality assignment where students are asked to locate themselves as learners and scholars in the world, because in order to know where we're going, we need to know where we've come from. We're putting more and more an emphasis also not just on indigenizing, but also on decolonizing. So going with those 5 R's that were developed by Kirkness and Barnhart. Let's see if I remember them. Reciprocity, responsibility, relevance, relationships, and there's one more. I will leave it to you to maybe think about that. But also including modules about decolonizing citations, thinking about whose knowledge are you including in your scholarship and how can you change that. We also approach our teaching with place-based pedagogy in mind. So we do place-based writing and journal reflections as well.
So just to talk a little bit about the student perspective, I'm going to start by preface this by saying that enrolling in Land 1 cohort was probably the most influential step towards furthering my post-secondary education. I've learned so much through a variety of key concepts and scholarly techniques that I've used throughout in my more advanced classes. And the transition from high school to university was bound to feel difficult, but it was possible through the supportive faculty and the friendships I made through Land 1, where it wasn't quite that hard. In addition to this, the smaller class sizes gave me practice and confidence to participate in larger classes and ask questions to my teachers. I learned nearly as much from my students in my class as much as I did from the professors. I was really fortunate to have a very international class, so it was really cool to see how we could all bring in our unique perspectives and bring that to the discussion. The environmental focus and specialized topics felt like there was something more connected. I felt like I was learning something more profound than general courses where there was that disconnect. So just like what both Fernanda and Lindsay were discussing, feeling like all of the classes coming together is really a unique way of looking at the world. And lastly, I think the willingness of the teaching team to adjust the program as students reflect on what's working and what needs slight adjustments really helps the students feel included in the strategizing of the program. So it's not just a professor-based program, but it's really about the students as well, which is very unique.
Thanks, Amari. So we're continually evaluating this program in a number of different ways. The first way I'm going to talk about is that at the end of every year, we give a post-program survey. So these results that I'll just highlight in a second is the average of post-program opinion surveys for the past 5 years for each of these questions. So the first one, I had plenty of opportunities to interact with professors in Land 1. 96% of students agreed. I became more interested in issues related to forestry and LFS as a result of Land 1. 89% of students agreed with that. Land 1 helped my transition to university. That was a big objective. 85% of all the students over the last 5 years agreed with that in their post-program survey. And then the course content in Land 1 is integrated and related to each other. We had 83% agree with that. The next data I want to show you, we recently, when did we do this? In the summer, in the fall? Yeah. We surveyed all students that have taken Land 1 in the past. So for some of them, this was 5 years ago, to comment on how they're still feeling about the program now. Thank you to Gabriel for helping us with that survey. So of all of those students, 500?
It was like, there are 300 students and about 30% answered the survey. So we had about 100 students surveyed.
Yes, thank you. So 96% of those students said that Land 1 helped them form a core group of friends. 91% said that it provided a more integrated and interdisciplinary first-year experience. 90%, and this makes me feel very happy, so that it integrated diverse voices and Indigenous ways of knowing. 89% said it created a sense of community among students. Another 89% said it provided more personalized guidance and connection with instructors. 85% said it provided more experiential learning opportunities, and 83% said it made me feel more connected to my faculty. So when we look at these numbers, they're really great. Like this, we can see that this program is having an impact, and it's working on a number of levels.
And that, oh, sorry.
Please.
Now I'm just going to go over some of the previous feedback from students in the past years. Can you hear it? Yeah, okay. So the first one is the Land One program brought me everything I needed this year. It gave me opportunities that I wasn't expecting, and it introduced me to so many friends that I know will be by my side for the rest of my life. I will never be more grateful that I took the chance and applied to this program. The next quote from a former Land One student is, joining the Land One program was one of the best decisions of my life. I feel so great about the connections I've formed and the content I've learned. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity. Up next, our third one is going to be, because of the interdisciplinary nature of the Land One program, having both Forestry and LFS students, it was a great way to gain a better awareness of issues beyond my own program. Having a more inclusive and holistic mindset to begin my post-secondary academic career with was a very eye-opening experience and a great basis on which to further my learning. Lastly, our last quote from former Land One student is, I think the personalized connection the professors had with us was unique to the rest of my classes in my degree. I felt like I really got to know our professors and were able to learn how to build relationships with them, which was really important and transferable as a skill in my broader university career.
Yeah, so the Land One program has had lots of successes, and we have achieved, I think, most of our objectives, but we have definitely faced some challenges on the way. So I forgot to mention, it started in 2018, so it's a young program. So some of the challenges that we faced and some of the ones we overcome. So finding the same instructors to teach every year. Like when the program started, just to give you one example, in math, we used to have a sessional instructor every year. It's almost impossible to integrate content and make it truly interdisciplinary if the instructor is changing every year. We face something similar with economics. So the past 2 years have been sort of the first ones that we have our stable Land One instructors. And that's so fabulous because we can actually collaborate. We meet with each other. We build the curriculum. So that was a challenge that I think, we're doing very well so far. Also, Land One has students from 2 faculties, so LFS and Forestry. And within those faculties, there are like 4 programs or more. So we actually have students from, let's say, 8 programs. It's actually very challenging to find courses that work for all of those programs. So, finding those courses has been difficult, but also students sometimes feel that we make them take courses that they don't need. In forest sciences, for instance, my understanding is that they don't need economics. In urban forestry, they don't need math. But if students want to be part of Land One, they have to take those courses. So sometimes they feel, it's sort of a potential waste of my credits or my time to have to take those courses, but I really want to be in Land One. So I'm taking those courses, although I don't want to. So in that sense, students sometimes feel that it takes away flexibility from their choices. And to some degree, it does. And also some students feel that it puts them behind in their programs because they have to take, let's say, economics, they cannot take chemistry or something that they actually potentially need. So then they feel that, in first year, I could have done these courses, I didn't, and now I'm a bit behind. So, we have worked with associate deans and with student services throughout these 6 years, quite a lot. And I think this is still a question that we are pondering, how to deal with this challenge.
So looking now into the future, the program has, as Fernanda said, we've reached some stability now. We did have that pandemic there for a little while as well, which I know is still lurking around, but not in the same way. So we're in this place now where we can think, okay, like now what? How do we increase this impact? So we really feel like it's this time to collaboratively think about what's next and where we want to take this. Not necessarily growing in number, but how do we increase that impact? And one thing that we really want to do in that phase of dreaming is to make anything that we bring to the program or bring to expand it respond to the students' needs. What do they want after year one? So, you know, it's that design thinking where it's like you want to design the bridge for the people crossing the bridge and not vice versa. As well, we've had so many new hires in our faculties, and so there's new people here that also bring with them knowledge and different opportunities for collaboration. So we can't really say yet what is next, but we're very excited to start think about that, whether that's, you know, fourth year field course, or whether it's there's a lot of different options, and we'd love to hear any ideas that any of you have about that as well. Yeah, so we made a little, it's like a minute 30-second video with our current Land 1 students. We asked them after class the other day, what do you like about Land 1? And this is what they said.
What I like about Land 1 is that they provide a lot of opportunities to see future careers that we're going to have. Like field trips and like volunteer opportunities are very common in Land 1.
It has built my confidence while being here at UBC.
It has also made the transition between high school and university easier.
And of course, the amazing friendships.
I really like Land 1 because of this like tight-knit connection within the community is making the transition from high school like so much smoother, and all the professors are so caring.
The friendships you make within the classroom are not limited to the classroom. If anything, some of us have planned bonfires and beach outings on our own time over the weekends to help us cope over midterm season.
I think what I love about Land 1 is like the community, because I've been hearing about like my other friends talking who aren't in LFS and Land 1 especially, they don't really have that many close friends. So even if they find people in lecture, then they don't spend time with them outside of that. But this group, like, you know everyone, you know 50 people, and even if you're not friends with them, like you're seeing them every day, so you get close with them.
I've really been enjoying Land 1 from the support from all the faculty and from all the friends I've made through classes and outside of classes as well.
I really enjoyed the hands-on experiences I got and the field trips.
I like Land 1 because of my friends, especially Josh.
I love the sense of community, and since it's a small class, I get to know everyone better and the teachers better too.
I think Land 1 is a great way to connect with a diverse group of people with similar views on the environment and on life, and I think it's just really fun.
Wonderful. So just before finishing, we want to give some acknowledgements. So to Rob Cossack and Chris Scaman. So Chris is not here, but they were sort of the thinkers and, you know, the brains behind Land 1. Like we have implemented it, but it was, you know, their idea on the need of having this program. To Ricky Yada, that has been extremely supportive. Student services, like they are not here, but Christine Clary, Chiara Longhi, Jana Kellett, and Shannon Blakely, that they have support us so much in like troubleshooting different issues, changing courses, changing classrooms, like schedules, like so much support. Duncan McHugh from the LFS Learning Center and Gabriel as well. Thank you so much for all the support. Like they, you know, help us making videos. They are always there for us. And, you know, all Land 1 students. We have some Land 1 students here present. So thank you guys. Yeah, and thank you so much everyone for coming. Yeah, and let us know if you have any questions.
So it's a great program.
Thank you.
I would have loved to take something like this when I was studying. Really hearing that what the students were saying is really the community that is a big thing for them, and I guess there's like really scaling this up is impossible. You want to almost establish 5 Land One programs in if you want to give the same experience to the other students?
Yeah, so we have thought a little bit about, okay, can we increase the numbers? And we potentially could increase a little bit, but there's definitely, a point where like you would lose that sense of community. So, what number that is, it's maybe 60, maybe 70 students, but beyond that, you definitely would lose that connection. Like professors in the program will know our students, like by the end of the term and the year, like Lindsay and I, Athena, we know the name of all the students in class and we know more than their names. In a class that is, 80 or 100, it's like way challenging to do that. So definitely, I think a key, thing in Lang One is the small numbers. But what do students think, Amari?
The small numbers, I think, just adding on to what Fernanda said, is definitely beneficial. It's easier for the students to get to know the professors. And it also feels less like a one-on-one or a one-sided relationship. I think Land One was really beneficial for teachers to talk to their students individually and to a class. So it was really just nice to have that experience where I could talk to a professor and it was a one-on-one conversation without it feeling overwhelming.
Yeah, to your point, Yolanda, I don't know, is that possible to have like two cohorts, each with their own set of professors? I don't know. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. So just to add a little bit, like I think it's the coordinated arts, like what they do is they have 200 people classroom and then they have smaller seminars. So, it could potentially be done to some degree, but I don't know if you could create that community with the cohort, so much. Like Lang One students in our second year courses, they are together. Like I have students that have graduated already and I see them still together. Like they form lifelong friendships in Lang One. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just adding on to that, I have a core group of 20 people from Land One that I still keep in contact and I still hang out with at least multiple times a semester. So it's lovely just to come back to school and have a full set of faces that you're ready to recognize and ready to see. And they're all just lovely people. Land One is full of everyone with very similar environmental views, but also slightly different. So it's really nice to just get to know everyone.
So kudos to all of you for how well the program's running, and it's great to hear about it in your own words as well. So I was curious if you had to point to a next step, would something like a Land 2 or a Land 4 be a good place for the next step? Because it's unlikely we could do something right out of the box at all levels, but should we start at the end before students launch into their real lives or build on it for Land 2? And I'd be curious of the student's perspective
I'm
too.
curious to know.
Well, that's a really good question. I think perhaps like being in fourth year might be a little bit more beneficial. Just speaking from my experience, this second year transition, I've gotten to branch out and look a little bit more into other ideas like research and just looking into that sense. But I think as a fourth year, it would be really beneficial to just, once again, have that community and not feel like you're going into the workforce alone. I think it would be nice to just have a community trying to do the same thing, but with different fields, just all trying to apply to jobs and get out of the academic realm.
Not to put the Land One students in the audience on the spot, but what do you guys think? Land 2 or Land 4?
I think I really like having something in fourth year would be really cool, and just like I think it would make more sense than having something in second year. Thank you. Since I feel very similar, like in second year, I've gotten to connect with a lot of people in my program specifically. But having a first year cohort, like Amari, I got a lot of close connections with both professors and students, and having that group of friends going into second year was like a nice support group kind of, but that's gave me the confidence to connect with people in my program in second year and beyond that.
Fourth year idea. So I would say Land One in my first year, it kind of felt like, like those last 30 days of high school, your senior year or grade 12, where
like all those divisions kind of fall away and everybody just comes together and hangs out for the last month. And so I think that could be really powerful, kind of like Amari said, to have again, fourth year after everybody's kind of gone off for 2 years and mixed with other people and mingled and made friends. I think that could be super beneficial.
And just to add a little bit on the survey that we did to like all former Lang1 students, we added the option of would you be interested in a 4th-year field course? And that was sort of like the most popular option. So potentially something, that it's optional, but it's very applied to their own degrees while they do it together would be amazing. I think that as Lindsay mentioned also, I think that decision should be very student-centered. So we probably need, more feedback from students as to what they actually want and need in their 4th year. Yeah.
Yeah, just definitely adding on to that. One of the great things about the Land1 program is that it works with the students and what the students need. So I think definitely reaching out to the 4th-year students and being like, is this something you're interested in? Just because as a 2nd year, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, getting to know my professors and my teachers. And I feel like there's enough going on that I wouldn't need another course to kind of unify it all together, but definitely 4th year. Yeah.
It's a fantastic program. Congratulations. I had 2 questions. The first one is really related to the previous comments. In your survey, you did mention that you want to move forward, taking into consideration students' needs. And I was just curious to know if in your survey you asked the students for concrete, practical ways in which the program can improve, also to address the challenges that you listed. I'm just curious. And the second question was, how do you fit the field trips in your current program? Are they part of your classes or you do them in addition to the classes? And do you think that these field trips could be envisioned as a way to give a little bit of a continuity with the cohort moving forward? Maybe have field trips in year 2, maybe another one at the end, just to keep the network going so it doesn't feel like this is a 1st-year gig and then it disappears and it's up to the students to keep it alive. But there could be some activities of field trips perhaps planned over the 4th years to provide continuity basically, and then graduation time comes. Thanks.
That's great. Yeah, you even have like Land1 representatives from each year, like the 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, that work together as part, like maybe it's small paid position or something like a TA to design those like Land1 field trips that keep going. I think that's a cool idea. Yeah. From the survey, yeah, we did. I'll tell you then what I remember, then you can see what you remember. We asked them like for ideas for the future of how to grow it. And definitely we heard back that not expanding the size was, nobody wanted Land1 to get bigger in terms of number. But there was, having some kind of a field course maybe in 4th year, like a capstone idea. There was definitely mentioned a desire to stay in touch, to have more support to keep that going on. What do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So same thing. I think field trips, excellent idea. To address your second question, so the way we do it in the program, so the integrative seminar is sort of the core course that the students take throughout the year. And it's a 3-credit course spread over 1 year, and it has 3 hours of meeting time every week. One of those hours is an optional tutorial that we do professional development workshops, well-being workshops, and field trips. So usually the field trips like UBC Farm would fall within that Friday. And what we do, because there's so much collaboration between instructors, like on Friday, they also have biology, for instance. I take the biology hour, so I have 2 hours, and then I sort of pay back Athena in another hour. So so we usually short field trips, we do that then. And then the long field trip to Malcolm Knapp, that it's an overnight, we basically take 1 weekend. Yeah. So we don't take time away from classes. The students last year, it was this year. So we're thinking, we will see, they want a 2-night field trip. We do 1. So we will see how that goes. And, if we actually can move it to they love the field trip. I think it's right.
Yeah, it's a really big part of Land1. I know it was really enticing for a lot of the 1st years to even join it. Just the fact that as a first year, you get to go visit the research forest and you get to actually start measuring in it is really exciting. So I think that was a really cool, tangible activity for us.
I'm interested in the planning, in the conception of this idea of this program. Who was the mastermind behind it? How many years did it take until we launched it in 2018? And what marketing, so to speak, went into it, so that I assume you got 50 students from day one in 2018?
Yep.
How was that? Because it's so successful that it's really interesting.
So I think we have to pass the mic to Rob because Rob was very involved in the, like I sort of arrived in 2018, so I don't think I can talk a lot about what happened before that. Rob.
Mastermind might be overstating it, but the two people who conceived of this program was Chris Gaiman in LFS and myself. It started in 2015. We researched it for a year with a work study student, and then started putting the curriculum together the second year. And then the third year was Senate approval. So it was ready to go in 2018. The original vision for the program was not unlike what exists today, a small cohort program. The thinking was that we would just let it go for 5 years, 6 years, as we've done, and see where to take it from here. But we had a lot of ideas. So one idea, which I don't think would work and actually led to the creation of the NRES program, was let's build it outward and have every single student in LFS and forestry go through this program. So that was one idea. Another idea was have Land 1 and then Land 2, Land 3, Land 4, just courses peppered throughout their programs. A third idea was a brand new land degree. So have an entire curriculum devoted to land and have the cohort just walk through. And then the fourth idea was a Land 4 program. So it's great to hear this feedback. I'm curious to see where it goes next. And we have a great associate dean academic here who will lead the charge. Yes. Yes.
And why was it? Decided the name. Why was it Land 1 and not Forestry 1?
Because we thought land was common to both faculties.
Got it.
And Oceans 1 would be stupid, and I think it's a movie. Oceans 11 was the other name.
So my question goes back to sort of, this is maybe more for you, Lindsay. And I know there's been some movement in upper level writing, but I think there's a number of instructors that we spend a fair bit of time helping upper level students with their writing skills again. And so I know that you've started it. But do you see one of the potential options in the whether it's through Land 1 or more broadly of a sort of a, I don't know what you'd call it, the 150 course being brought up to another course at the upper level that could be available to our students from the writing side to help at that level at third and fourth year, and whether you got any input from the students about that? Yeah.
So I have two, part A and part B. So part A is that right now, as you know, I'm working with a team on a large TLEF project to redesign Forestry 150 and LFS 150 as hybrid courses, but also to create modules for instructors teaching upper level courses around writing that you could integrate into your courses. We've been having lots of fun actually interviewing faculty members about their approach to writing, which has informed also the curriculum in a way that we didn't expect. So that's been interesting. I'll present about that project in another TLSS. But yes, the second question, I have actually had a lot of conversations this week with students about this, so it's good timing. I gave a guest lecture in the conservation capstone course around communications for social change. Then I had a number of my Forestry 150 students separately that same day come to me in office hours and be like, okay, we're really excited to be learning about scholarly writing, but like we want to learn how to talk to people about conservation issues and about climate, and we want a course to help us do that. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. That could be, so I guess based on what I've been hearing through anecdotal feedback, I haven't done any surveys on this. I do think it could be interesting to explore a different kind of writing, especially since students in fourth year, not everybody's going to go to grad school after, but might be working for government, might be working for NGOs. So I think that could be maybe a powerful way to be part of some kind of either land for, or even just an interdisciplinary thinking, holistic curriculum to bring in something like that. That is off the cuff, so to speak. Haha.
Well, you have to ask quite a few students to the Faculty of Science because they're related to all the classes in the first year in the Faculty of Science. That was one of the reasons, but there was other reasons, of course, too. But so, but we can surveys if the students who are taking them will actually have stayed with the LFS and forestry.
Yeah, so that was in that survey. We just didn't include it. Of the survey we did of all the students passed. And if I remember correctly, I'll check on it, but 83% of students in Land 1 stayed in their home faculties. So that's significantly higher, I would say. Yeah.
Something that we are planning to do, like that survey had like 33% response rate, but something that we are doing is we are using like UBC systems through UBC data to actually see where they go. So, and we will see, academic performance, grades, graduation, etc., in comparison with non-Land 1 students. So yeah, so we will do that because I'm not sure data represent how accurate it is. I'm not very sure given, who responded to the survey, etc. So we should know that, in a couple of months, hopefully. Yeah, so we are on it.
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about, like having a SOTL seed grant for doing some sort of more in-depth longitudinal study of the cohort. Yeah. Any other questions? You're in a subway haze.
Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.